What's poppin', what's cracking, what's happening? I don't know what intro I want to use, so I'm just gonna say a bunch of different things every time. Oh, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be hello humans. Today we're doing a red pilled versus blue pilled discussion, conversation, sure, whatever. It's not really a discussion. I'm just talking y'all. Basically, I want to talk about not the actual alpha male stuff, all that, versus liberal versus conservative. No, literally the movie concept, red pill versus blue pill. So I saw someone do a poll, and they asked their chat, and overwhelmingly red pill versus blue pill. And I'm like, oh my god, are these guys all alpha male? Like, no, they literally meant like the movie. So the real question is, would you rather would you ever be content in a lie, or know the actual truth? So to me, the answer may not be so obvious. Now, I already know I'm a liberal, so it's like, of course soy boys want to have an easy life. But let's look a little more into it. So, at its core, let's talk about the actual movie, The Matrix. Took the red pill, you awaken to the actual truth, real reality. It's hard, it's tough, it's gritty, but there is some value in knowing the actual way the world works. Or you stay content in your society, being a cog in a machine, up to somebody else's devices. None of your choices really have value because you're never playing the real game. The question is one truly better than the other? And to me, that's a question about the value of truth. So I've kind of changed it twice, from red pill to blue pill, to living in an illusion, to living in the reality, to is truth really inherently valuable? Let's get about that. To me, something being good or something being bad is based off of, our brains, chemistry, right? We do something or don't do something because it either makes us feel good, helps us survive, or doesn't make us feel bad, generally. That's how a human brain works down to its core. So everything is kind of built from there. Like, you can build like, okay, so why do we want any good thing? You eventually work down to that. Like, okay, well, we want to feel good, neutral, or not feel bad, generally. When it comes to knowing the truth is a useful means of getting to one of those feelings. But unless you're someone who feels better when you know the truth, it doesn't seem like there's like a literal value there, right? Say the truth of, let's talk about like some really more obvious things. The red pill versus blue pill idea. You're in a relationship. You found out. Destiny used this example. You've been dating. No, not Destiny. I think Destiny or Abba used the example. I'm not sure. Basically, you've been in a relationship for 20 years. You found out at the beginning of your relationship she you're at the beginning of the relationship. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. You've been in a relationship for 20 years. Your partner actually cheated once in the beginning of your relationship. Do you think you should know that, or think you should not know that? It's a question. Like, she has never cheated again. She only cheated that one time. So someone who wants to be real, who knows the truth, says that I should always know the truth. I want to always know, right? It's better to actually know what's going on. My question is, does that really make sense? This person's the love of their life. You're perfect together. If you don't know that one thing that happened, you'd be happier. You'd objectively be happier for the rest of your relationship. But now there's a scar on your relationship forever. If you do know the truth, maybe you break up with her because that happened. I'm saying her because I would be her for me. Maybe you'd leave her. Maybe you wouldn't leave her. Maybe you always have an eye out. Maybe you don't believe anything she's saying. It probably has a negative impact on your relationship. Maybe it has a positive impact just on account of, I'm happy that you actually told me. Some people value honesty. A relationship that I had, me and my partner were both not less than faithful, and I gave her an opportunity, like, hey, if you tell me right now that tell me right now if you were being unfaithful, then it'll be fine. Looked at her, she didn't tell me. Like, I see, well, this is the end of our relationship, but not really at that time period. We kept on for a little bit longer. But I wanted to know the truth. We both get an opportunity to be better. We could have learned and built from that. Because we were already unfaithful people, it would have been a bridge if we started becoming honest and forthcoming at that point. But if you're always faithful and you find out one of you wasn't faithful, that might bring a scar. I'm running in circles here. My point being, it seems like that's a situation where you wouldn't be as happy. So the question is, again, in that situation, is it more important that you know the truth or be happy? That situation, the truth makes you worse off. I'm under a worldview that being content or happy is more important than being, right. So you can obviously see where my answer to this is going to. When we go back to the actual Matrix scenario, would I take the blue pill or the red pill? That's an interesting one. For me, it'd be about helping people, right? What's the best outcome for society and for myself? If I can make a better outcome for society by taking the red pill and go out and say I'm Neo, I'm literally Neo, I could potentially change the world one way or the other. Of course, you take the red pill, I can fix everything for everyone. I can make a better society where we don't make the same mistakes and we have to live in a horrible society. But say you're not Neo and there is no Neo. Or say, matter of fact, you're Neo, but the fourth movie's come out. You realize things don't change, things don't get better. People who live outside of the Matrix have a worse life than the people who live inside of the Matrix. Now, their real life is an actual life. You're doing things. You're participating. You're part of a society. You're contributing to things that are really taking place outside of just your own brain or the neural network that combines all of your brains. It's an interesting choice because, you could be neutral to have, especially if you're in a program that's happy, let's say. The Matrix is a bad example because the Matrix is like our current real life versus a shittier post-apocalyptic life. Well, if you already hate the life you're living, then you're just moving from one shitty life to another shitty life. You probably would prefer know the truth and live in a shitty life than be lied to in a shitty life, right? But say it's better in the Matrix. You probably want to live in the Matrix. Maybe not you. I think I would rather, live in a fantasy world that feels better if I can do nothing to make the real life feel better. If my impact on society is neutral regardless, I change nothing, I'd rather be happier. If I can make things better for people, I'd rather do that. But that's just because I put a value on making, people feel better. And that goes back down to the chemistry of our brain. A lot of us are wired to help others because animals that evolved to do that survive better because people that help each other are helped by the other people that help each other usually, right? So that's again back down to back down to your wiring. I mean, even knowing the truth having a value goes back to the same thing, like people that know the truth, creatures that know better what's taking place around them are more likely to survive and thrive. So it really wires back to what your brain's chemistry is really about. It seems like at the core, we prioritize positive stimuli and survival, and then avoiding negative stimuli. And it seems like it's not necessarily true that the truth gets you that positive neutral stimuli all the time. I mean, look at the stock market. If everyone knows, there are certain situations where, maybe not stock market, let me know that. If you look at some investor-related information, everyone knowing that a bad thing is going to happen expedites the speed at which a bad thing happening, because you're all trying to take care of yourselves. But if you all didn't do that one step to take care of yourselves, the economy might go on for a little bit longer with everybody surviving, right? Now we can dig into some economic, behavioral analysis in a later video. But point to say is, it's hard to know. For myself, again, it's going to depend on the type of world you're living with. Neutral situation, I don't change anything in reality, whether I know the truth or don't know the truth. I'd rather live in the fake world that's better. If the world's just the same, there's no impact regardless, but I also don't live a happier life in the simulation than reality, well then I'd rather know the truth. And it's, that's really what it comes down to. So I think in our real world that I do know the general truth about how the world works. I don't think it's as complicated as most people think it is. It's not something hidden. So, it's pretty much it. I imagine a lot of people probably disagree with my conclusion of maybe sometimes it's better to not know the truth. But basically, it's just ignorance is bliss sometimes. But again, for me, it's ignorance is bliss if you can't do anything about it, given the actual knowledge. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, Twitter's going to be in the description. You say something in the comments, hit me up. If you want to argue about this, debate, bro. I'm just kidding. If you want to have a conversation about this, say something in the comments, hit me up on Twitter. It'll be in the description. And yeah, that's it.